Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy CJ Beasley here, back again. Today we have yet another battle video from the RWL. This week we are taking on Azazel, the coach of the Fallarbor Flames. If you didn't check out last week's battle video, definitely go check that out. I will be spoiling it in 3, 2, 1. So if you guys are still here, we did take a clean 5-0 victory last week against the Clan Ursos, with Mega G.O.A.T and Jolteon leading the way. So I'm definitely happy where my season is at right now. I believe we are 6-2 at this point. And another thing I want to talk about is, obviously, you are seeing me. This is my first time ever having a webcam that's high quality, so I definitely excited to use this. I will definitely be using this more often and all that fun stuff. So anyways, guys, let's hop right into the team matchup. So this week, like I said, we're taking on Azazel, and his team consists of Garchomp, Gyarados, Swellow, Lola Marowak, Hitmontop, Cryogonal, Magearna, Cresselia, Thunderous Eye, and Vileplume, as well as the Mega Tyranitar. So stuff I noticed is that his fastest Mon is going to be the Swellow at 125, as in meaning that my Jolteon does outspeed, which is amazing. It makes it faster than his entire team outside of a Scarfer, which is, like I said, it's a really good thing to have. Another thing I noticed is that he does have some decent removal this week. So hazards are they're nice against his team. A lot of his team doesn't really like Stealth Rocks, but at the same time he has a lot of removal, so I'm just gonna have to be wary about that. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna stop talking. Let's just hop right into what I'm bringing this week. So this week we're gonna start off with Deathstroke, our Mega Glade, with the Gladite Justified, Drain Punch, Knockoff, Taunt, and Will-O-Wisp with 236 HP. 68 attack, 4 defense, 4 special defense, and 196 speed with a Jolly Nature. So this week, I actually want to kind of go more of a supportive set with this Mega Glade, as you can obviously see here. Taunt and Will-O-Wisp are really good against this team. Taunt is so the Cresselia, like a Culverberry, Cresselia doesn't just think it can freely set up a Trick Room on me and kind of sweep from there. Or even like a Mega Gyarados trying to set up a sub Dragon Dance, something like that. Can't just do that with the Taunt or even a Will-O-Wisp. And Gyarados, or not Gyarados, excuse me, Garchomp obviously can't just freely SD my face, because if I Will-O-Wisp it, or even if I had the Drain Punch, is kind of fearing that, so it doesn't really want to come in freely like that. So this set, like I said, is going to be more of a supportive set, kind of shutting down all of his potential sweeping options. Even like a Shifts Gears Magearna, trying to set up that in front of my face, it will really have a hard time this week. So Drain Punch and Knockoff are really good coverage. Drain Punch pretty much hits everything on its team, and everything that it doesn't like losing its item. So I thought this would be a really good kind of coverage, as well as it just kind of being more towards the supportive side, with Drain Punch gain recovery and Knockoff losing items on things, stuff like that. So this bulk allows me to live stuff like Earthquake, Waterfalls, stuff like that. So like an Earthquake from a Garchomp, a Waterfall from a Gyarados, a Moonblast from a Cresselia, can live a couple of those. So stuff like that, just kind of the stuff that I want to shut down, I can properly handle with this bulk. So next up, we're going to move on, and we're going to go to our God of Thunder, the Jolteon, with the Life Orb, Volt Absorb, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, and Shadow Ball with 28 HP, 4 defense, max special attack, 4 special defense, and 220 speed with a Timid Nature. So this outspeeds his Swellow, which is obviously, like I said, his fastest thing on his team. So this basically outspeeds anything that's not a Choice Scarfer, or if like Gyarados doesn't have a Dragon Dance up, it will outspeed it. And pretty much this coverage is just here to hit anything hard. His team really doesn't appreciate this coverage. Things that want to take electric type attacks consist of Garchomp, especially bulky Cresselia, and the Marowak, and I can Shadow Ball or Ice Beam, or excuse me, not Ice Beam, Hidden Power Ice, those kind of things, and deal big damage with the Life Orb. So I thought that was really nice here. And so this thing isn't really, it's not really here to sweep or anything like that. It's more just kind of wall break. You come in, pick up a few KOs maybe, just get things when they're low. It also can check the Swallow, obviously, since it outspeeds it, unless if it's a choice scarf set, but at that point I'll probably know if it's a choice scarf set so I can go into something else properly. So, like I said, this is kind of just a wall breaking set. It's not really here to necessarily sweep, but it can definitely put in a lot of work. Volt switch pivot's really nice. So yeah. So next up, we got Angel, our G.O.A.T with the Rocky Helmet, Serene Grace, Ironhead, U-Turn, Protect, and Wish. Oh, I just want to talk about my team real quick. It's the same exact 6 mons as last week, which is, you probably think is a little weird, but I just thought these would be the same. These 6 were probably my best chance against him as they were last week, so I just want to talk about that. I'm not copying teams, I swear. I mean, you probably don't care about that, but I'm not just copying the team and just editing the stats and whatever. I really put thought into this and just thought it was the same 6 was the best against him as well. So anyways, and this G.O.A.T set is almost the exact same too, except it had what did it have different? It had it had leftovers over the Rocky Helmet, and it had different EVs, but I promise I'm not just copying the sets and pasting them over. So anyways, guys, so like I said, we have the Ironhead, U-Turn, Protect, and Wish with 244 HP, 196 special defense with a careful nature, and 68 speed. So 68 speed allows me to creep, what does it allow me to creep? I believe it allows me to creep max speed Magirna, I want to say. I believe that's what it was, max speed Magirna. And then, or something like that. I don't exactly remember. But it allows me to speed creep something. I built this last week, so you'll just have to forgive me. But it outspeeds something. And this bulk allows me to live hits from the Swallow all day long. This is my primary Swallow check, as it can live hits from the physical side, as Brave Bird is probably his strongest hit, and I can munch on that with the Rocky Helmet, and he'll basically be taking 40% every time he clicks it. Roughly 25, 40, somewhere in there. Or if he's specially bulky, I can live 2 Heat Waves, so Heat Waves of 3 KO from full, and I can just Wish, Protect, stall him, and just click Ironhead in between somewhere in there, just kind of be annoying against the Swallow, against his team in general. So Ironhead's obviously there for the flinches, as I can flinch something like Magirna. It also hits Magirna neutrally. U-Turn is obviously there for the pivot. If like a Garchomp wants to hard switch in or something like that, I can pivot on out freely. And Protect Wish is obviously there just for longevity. It also helps out my team, as in like the finning, as it doesn't get really longevity in any way. Except for like berries and leftovers and stuff like that, but outside of that, it doesn't really get ways to stay alive, so Wish is really nice for that. It's also nice for the Mega G.O.A.T, as it is one of my, you know, it's supported this week, but it also can put in work, definitely. So I like that, having that as a option with the Wish. So yeah. So next up, we got Namor, our Tapu Fini, with the leftovers, Misty Surge, Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Reflect, and Defog, with 252 HP, 228 defense with a bold nature, and 28 speed depth. So this set is my primary check to things like Gyarados and Garchomp. Moonblast and Nature's Madness basically neuter those things, as well as the Reflect. It makes those things basically do nothing to me. And then Defog's obviously there just since I didn't really have anywhere else to put it on this week, and I didn't really need... I mean, a water type attack would have been nice, but it would have really only been there for the Magirna, which I don't stand on anyways, and the Marowak, which doesn't touch me basically at all, even if, especially if I have a Reflect up, it can't really touch me at all. So I thought it was pretty nice. So yeah, so this bulk, it just basically takes hits from the Gyarados, takes hits from the Garchomp, stuff like that, and can just deal back big damage to him. Not a whole lot to say here. It's basically just a physical wall this week against all of his physical attackers. It can also take hits from Swallow for the, not for the most part, but like decently well. So that's also a thing to know. And so just moving right along, we got Dark Knight, our Gliscor, with the Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, Earthquake, Toxic Roost, and Stealth Rocks. With 252 HP, 148 attack, 12 defense with an impish nature, 92 special defense, and 4 speed. So this basically also is a check to Garchomp. It can live a +2 outrage, I believe is what it was, and can kind of just toxic that thing, roost, earthquake, whatever I really need to do to wear that thing down. So this thing is honestly really good against this team. It's also good against the Magirna, as long as I get him low enough where an Earthquake picks him off, because I obviously don't want to be Earthquaking it where it can Ice Beam me if it survives. And the Stealth Rocks are obviously there because it's really good against this team. They're not 100% necessary, but like I said, they're really good. He does have a lot of removal, so I don't expect him to stay around that long, but they're just really good option, especially against like Marowak, Swallow, Gyarados, stuff like that doesn't really like coming in on Stealth Rocks. So yeah, so Earthquake Toxic, like I said, basically deals with his entire team. Earthquake hits everything, and the things that doesn't, Toxic does, outside of like maybe a Gut Swallow, if that's what he brings, but I'm not really staying in on Gut Swallow anyways, so it's not really that big of a deal. So like I said, this takes hits from the Gyarados, deals big damage, just stuff like that. It's not too in depth, but it'll work this week. I feel it has really good potential this week. And so finally, we have Pyro, the Chandelure, which is Assault Vested with Infiltrator, Shadow Ball, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, and Hidden Power Fighting. With 236 HP, 212 special attack with a modest nature, and 60 special defense. This thing gets 3 hit KO'd by a Shadow Ball from a modest Magirna, so it munches on those. This is my primary check to Magirna, as I don't really have a great one outside of maybe like Jolteon can slowly whittle that thing down, but it doesn't just stay in on it anyways. Nothing on my team really does except for this, so I'm definitely gonna have to play smart with this. Shadow, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, and Hidden Power Fighting basically hits his entire team. The only thing it doesn't really hit too hard is a Garchomp if he's like an AV set or maybe just a bulky set, but that's not really that big of a deal to me. Infiltrator's obviously there if he's like a sub Magirna or sub anything. I can easily pass through that and just click a move and deal big damage to it. I have Fire Blast and Flamethrower this week just because I didn't want to miss my Fire Blast. Fire Blast is what I'm going to primarily be clicking, but if something's low enough, like if Magirna is down low enough where I can pick it up with Flamethrower, I'd rather click that than Fire Blast and risk the miss. So that is cool. So anyways guys, I'm going to stop talking. I'm really excited to use this team. I'm really excited to see how it works against him. But like I said, I'm going to stop talking and we'll hop right into the battle video now. Alright guys, so looking at the 6 he brought Cryogonal, Magirna, Swallow, Gyarados, Garchomp, and Alolan Marowak. Nothing too really surprising at all here. In terms of lead matchups for me, you know, the Glade could be decent unless if he leads Magirna, then I kind of have to switch out. Other things that could be decent is Jolteon could be really good, and the Tapu Fini could be decent, as well as the Jirachi. They all had decent viability as leads, but I decided to go with the Jolteon. The only bad lead matchup I had against his team was really going to be that Garchomp, so I decided to lead the Jolteon, and so we're just going to hop right into things, see what he's going to lead here. So like I said, I'm leading the Jolteon here, as you can see. And he's actually going to lead his Iceman, which is the Cryogonal, which is not a bad lead for me whatsoever, as I can freely Volt Switch out. Not really a drawback to this play. So I'm going to Volt Switch out. It does about 75%. I'm going to take a little bit of Life Orb Recoil. But here, I'm going to just go on to my Mega Glade, as there wasn't really much he could do to me. Like, the worst thing he could do was maybe Ice Beam. That doesn't do that much anyways. And so he's actually going to go for the Hail. So I was thinking about like clicking Taunt or Will-O-Wisp or something, expecting a switch out, but I really didn't want to mess around with this thing, trying to do something funky against me. And I knew the Drain Punch would always KO from the range he was at. He's about 80% now, and I knew Drain Punch would always get the KO unless if he's like super physically bulky. So I just decided to stay in and go for the Drain Punch here, and if he switches out into like Gyarados or something, it's fine. I can Will-O-Wisp that next turn or Taunt it or whatever. So I'm just going to go for the Drain Punch and Oko this thing, and it doesn't really do much at all besides get the Hail up, which later on he told me that he actually was a Aurora Veil, so I'm glad I didn't go for like Will-O-Wisp or something there. But anyways, so he is going to go out into his Gyarados, and this is exactly the situation I wanted, because I can freely Will-O-Wisp this thing, unless if he's Choice Scarfed, he won't outspeed me. And even if he's Choice Scarfed, nothing Okos me. So I'm going to click Will-O-Wisp, and I actually do miss here, which is like super unfortunate, as he does get a free substitute up, which is, like I said, super unfortunate, but you know, it goes like that sometimes. What can you do? So we're both going to get hit by the hail, and we actually do see his leftovers with the substitute, so that's really good to know. As I will just go for the taunt here, not really wanted him to set up free Dragon Dances, as I do expect him to want to go for that, as he does. So this turn, we're both going to get hit by the hail again, and he's going to get a little bit more lefties, negating the hail damage. But here, I'm going to hard switch out into my Tapu Fini, as it can munch on any hit he wants to go for. So I'm just going to go hard into my Tapu Fini here, as we do get the Misty Surge up, and he's just going to actually go for the Earthquake here. So he clicks the Earthquake, and based on my damage calculations, it should be doing about like 18% if he's Jolly. But we do see it does about like 25%, 20-ish%, so we do learn he's Adamant here, which is good to know. So he's going to get a little bit more lefties. The hail stops, I'm going to get a little leftovers too. So here I'm just going to freely click the Moonblast, I believe, just to break the substitute, as he will click Earthquake. And so it's going to bring me down to about 60%, as I will just click the Moonblast to break the substitute. And so at this point, I believe his taunt wears off at this point, after we get both leftovers recovery. So he's sitting about 90-ish%. And so I'm going to get lefties, he's going to get lefties, and yeah, his taunt wears off here. So now I know he's going to want to click the Dragon Dance, so I'm just going to click the Nature's Madness, as a Nature's Madness into a Moonblast will KO him most of the time. Or I believe Nature's Madness into 2 Moonblasts, I believe actually is what the calc is. So I'm going to click the Nature's Madness, we connect, he does go for the Dragon Dance, he's going to be down to about 50% after the leftovers, and I will be back up to about 66%-ish, roughly. So here he's just going to click the Earthquake, and I was at 119, brings me down to 55, which is 64 HP. And based off that calc, I do learn that that's like one of the higher damage rolls. And we see here that the Moonblast will be a 2-hit KO on him at this point. And I will get back up to 66 HP, so unless if he got another like max roll or one of the higher rolls, he wasn't KOing no matter what. So he's going to click the Earthquake again, as I will just click the Moonblast, and we do survive on 4, which is not unexpected at all. That's exactly what I expected to happen, unless if he got like a really high roll. And I'm just going to click the Moonblast and pick off this Gyarados. So at this point we're up 6-4, and we're looking really good. We're in a really commanding position. But he can really go into whatever he wants at this point on the Tapu Fini. And so here he is going to go into Zamagiana, and I have a dedicated switch into this thing. I don't want to give it a free Soul Heart boost, so I'm just going to go hard into my Chandelure, as it is a Assault Vest and it can take any hit it wants to go for. And so here he's just going to click the Flash Cannon, which is understandable. I was expecting that, either that, the Shadow Bolt, or the Thunderbolt, just depending. And so here I'm actually just going to click the Shadow Ball, as I did expect him to want to hard switch out, not wanting to take this hit, but he doesn't. I get the Spadef drop, it brings about 40-ish% lower, and he does go for the Volt Switch, which is not unexpected. He does get the crit, but it doesn't really matter that much. And so here he's going to go into his Garchomp, as I do expect him to want to like either Swords Dance or Earthquake, or maybe even set up the Rock. So I'm going to go out into my switch into this thing, which is the Gliscor, as he does go for the Sword Stance. So unless if he's adamant with Outrage, he won't be OHKOing me, and even if he has the Outrage, I can go into my Tapu Fini and deal with that thing accordingly. So here he's actually going to go for the Dragon Claw, and I know I'll live this, but based off that damage, it does about roughly 75%, which tells me that he is also adamant. So he has a lot of adamant sweepers this week, which isn't too unexpected. But I will get the Toxic off, so I'll be putting this thing on a timer. And I know after the recovery, a Poison Jab won't be KOing me, and I don't expect him to want to go for it, so I expect him to want to click Dragon Claw again. So I'm going to go hard out into my Tapu Fini. Get the Misty Surge back up, as I do expect him to click the Dragon Claw again, unless if he has some other coverage, as he does, so that is perfect. And so here, I know, like I said, that a Poison Jab won't be killing my Gliscor, and obviously if he clicks Earthquake, I will be immune to it, so I'm just going to go hard back into my Gliscor, as I can live any hit this thing wants to go for at this point, unless if he reason goes for the Dragon Claw. So he does go for the Earthquake, which is perfect. So we know he's Sword Stance, Earthquake, and the Dragon Claw. So at this point, I kind of half expected him to go for the Poison Jab if he had it, but he actually goes for the Stealth Rocks, and I decided to stay in just because even if he went for the Dragon Claw, I can go out into something like Mega G.O.A.T or something like that and revenge this thing at this point, or even the Jolteon, because after one more turn of poison damage, even if he used the Yache Berry, the Power Ice from a Jolteon would KO it, even if it was the Yache Berry. So I wasn't too afraid because I knew I could go into something else and revenge this thing, so it's not that big of a deal. So here he's actually going to Heart Switch out with about like 2 HP left and go hard into his Gliscor. Or excuse me, not his Gliscor, his Swallow. As I will double back out into my Tapu Fini. At this point I'm okay with sacking Tapu Fini. If he goes for the Dragon Claw, then he goes for the Dragon Claw and I get a free KO with the Gliscor. But he made a nice play, went to the Swallow. We actually do see he's Flame Orb with the Guts, so that is not the... Honestly, that's not the set I would have thought he was, as it doesn't really touch my Jirachi as the special set does. But you know, I'm not gonna complain about that too much. So he will KO me with the Facade, but I know I can 100% go into my Jirachi freely here. And so, knowing that this thing walls the Swallow, I expect him to want to switch out, so I'm just going to go for the U-turn. If he wants to go into the Garchomp, he's going to go into the Garchomp, and I can pick up that KO, or if he goes in the Marowak like he does here, I can freely get momentum off. And so here I'm going to go into the Chandelure, and I have a big choice to make. Either I click Fire Blast or Shadow Ball, and if I click the Shadow Ball and he goes into the Swallow, he gets free momentum, and I'll have to go into Jirachi and take more damage on that thing. Or if I go for the Fire Blast and he stays in like he does here, then it won't KO him and he'll KO me back. As I do click the Fire Blast, and it doesn't pay off unfortunately, but it brings him low enough to where my Jolteon can come in and revenge it. And so he clicks the knockoff, gets a crit, doesn't matter at all. And we do show that we're Assault Vested. As here we can freely, like I said, go out into our Jolteon and pick up this KO. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to click the Shadow Ball. I'm not going to mess around if he's Lightning Rod or not, and just pick up that KO. And so at this point, he only has Swallow, Magearna, and the Garchomp left. So really the only thing that can deal with this is the Magearna. So I know I have to Volt Switch out, but next time it comes in on a Magearna, it picks up the KO, obviously. And so I'm going to go hard into my Jirachi here, as he does actually just go for the Ice Beam, trying to get the KO on the Jolteon or whatever, just heal as much damage as he could. So here, I believe I just clicked the Iron Head. Yep, I clicked the Iron Head. We barely miss a KO on this thing, and he does go for the Volt Switch. And so here he's just going to go... Oh, he gets a crit on this as well. So many crits from him, but they honestly, none of them really matter that much. But here he's just going to go in the Garchomp and sack it to the poison damage, which is understandable. So at this point my Jirachi wins, and so he's going to go into Swallow, and what I should have done is Wish and Protect stalled him out basically, but I don't. I kind of make the dumb play and I go for the U-turn, as he does go for the Brave Bird, and I knew that was his play because nothing on the physical side from Swallow could hit me that hard, and I would have been able to Wish Protect stall this thing out of the burn and whatever. But I make the dumb play and go for U-turn, and at this point, as I click U-turn, I'm like, oh wait, the Swallow probably has Quick Attack, and I don't know if my Jolteon can live it after Stealth Rocks. So I have to go into Jolteon, I have no other choice, and based off of the HP I'm at, even if he's a Jolly Swallow, I can live a Quick Attack most of the time. So he goes for the Quick Attack, and I do live on 6, which is perfect, and I go for the Thunderbolt, pick up this KO. I will die to the Life Orb Recoil, but it's not that big of a deal. And so at this point he has a Magearna that's about 5-10% left, and I know I can pick up a KO with my Mega G.O.A.T easily. So I'm just going to go into that, get it more differential points. So here we will pick up the 3-0 victory against Azazel. So good game to him. Really great battler. He's doing really good in the league, to be honest with you. He's at this point he's 4-5, but you know he's had a couple of rough games, but he's a really good battler. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out. Great game to my opponent. Like I said, we are now 7-2 with a plus 22 differential, which is amazing. So anyways, guys, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you guys are new, leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.